backyard of one of his neighbor's residences. The suspect does live on this street, but it was not his residence where he was located. He was inside an enclosed back porch on that residence. Officers confronted him, gave him commands, asked him to come out. Initially, he was uncooperative. The officers took their time and backed off. They got additional backup units over here and went ahead and called the Houston Fire Department to go ahead and have them come to this location because of the agitated state that the male was in. Once the fire department and backup units got here, officers attempted to take the gentleman into custody. He fought with the officers and was eventually tased. He was taken into custody. They were able to get the handcuffs on. Unfortunately, about a minute or so after they got the handcuffs on him, he became unresponsive. We did have Houston Fire Department paramedics already staged on the scene. They immediately began rendering aid to the male, but unfortunately were never able to revive him. They treated him here on the scene for about 15 to 20 minutes trying to regain a heartbeat. They then took him to Southeast Memorial Hospital, where he was later pronounced deceased. We have notified the family. Obviously, this is a tragedy for them. It's a bad thing when anyone loses their life. We have our own investigative personnel here, like we do in any situation where someone dies in police custody. We have our internal affairs and our special investigative unit here. The Houston Forensic Science Center is here gathering evidence, and we'll go through a full investigation on this like we always do. But we extend our condolences to the family. It's a situation where it appears that there may have been long-term narcotics use involved. And anytime a family is dealing with that, it's tragic enough as it is, but when someone loses their life, it's even more so. So does anybody have any questions?
Are you able to say how many times he might have been tased or for how long?
I know he was tased at least once. He had been wrestling with officers prior to that, but I do know at some point he was tased at least once. I don't have information as to how many times or how long.
Do you know who called 911?
I do not know exactly who called 911. I don't have that information personally. Obviously, that's in our CAD system as to whoever placed that call. We'll have that in our records, and that'll be part of the ongoing investigation.
So is tasing the cause of death, or could it possibly have been
the cause of death
use?
won't be determined until the medical examiner finishes. We do know that at some point he did not have a heartbeat. We use tasers as a less lethal weapon quite often. Most of the time, the people have no adverse effects. This gentleman, we do know for certain, was on a narcotic, and that very likely, given what he was on, could have contributed. The medical examiner will determine that cause of death at a later time.
And what about the safety of the officers? Are they?
All the officers are okay. They were a little winded. They were not injured. As in any circumstance like this, it shakes you up when someone loses their life. They're out here trying to do their job on a Sunday morning, and you get a call to come over here and deal with someone who's agitated, and they end up having to wrestle with them, and then the male ends up passing away. That's not easy for anyone to have to deal with.
Is there any word if you all have responded to similar calls with this person before?
I do not know. We did speak to a witness on the scene who said that they knew that he had had an ongoing problem with drug use, but I do not know right now if we've responded to any other calls regarding this individual.
And then my last question, in terms of officer-involved shootings, protocol allows them to be pulled off duty in an investigation. Is that the same when it comes to deaths involving tasers?
It's not automatic in these circumstances. It's case by case. These officers will be monitored through our critical incident protocol, which has them go through our psychological services just to make sure that the effects of the incident have not affected them. But we'll do a full investigation on this just as if it was a shooting. So our special investigations unit has arrived here already. Our internal affairs unit is here on the scene. We do that routinely with any incident involving a death in custody. Harris County, the Houston Forensic Science Center is here gathering evidence, and we'll go through with all of that. The officers did have body-worn cameras. We'll be reviewing those as we go forward, and as with any other critical incident, we'll make sure that that's part of the investigation.
And now lastly, did you say why firefighters were called originally? Were they here just as on standby for aid?
The officers actually called them because of the agitated state that the gentleman was in and the fact that they could tell that he had ingested narcotics. They were very concerned for his well-being. And so prior to engaging him and prior to trying to take him into custody, they went ahead and called the fire department because they were concerned about the male's health. They were actually concerned that he would need the paramedics, and so they had them come on scene prior to attempting to take the male into custody.
Any other questions?
relationship is good. Thank you very much.
Certainly.
Take that up, you boss. And you're clear. Right behind you right there.